The views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Union Broadcasting Inc., ESPN 1510, or its employees. The host is solely responsible for the on-air content.
Welcome back to KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice, telling the stories of Kansas City nonprofits and the people behind them. I am Bobby Keys, and I'm sitting in and hanging out by myself without Ruth. She's off again, saving the world. I think she's in Alaska. She's doing something with seals or polar bears, something. She is always lining up amazing guests, and especially with the amazing nonprofit community that we have in Kansas City. There's only over 7,500 nonprofits, and we try and get as many of them on as possible. This is a great show, awesome show. Today we're talking about empowering kids through sports, and we are talking. We're talking about diversity and empowering all across the board, through creativity as well, through art. So, but our first guest, we're talking about transitional living. All right. Now we got, and I screwed this up earlier. I said Thalia, but it's Thalia. It's Thalia House, and welcome Jennifer and welcome Emma. Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem. You guys can pull those up a little bit. We're in a nonprofit room, so they're a little bit quiet. So tell us about Thalia House.
Yeah, definitely. Thalia House is a transitional living home, and it's in Old Leawood, and it has up to 10 beds, and women come live there together in community, and they support one another, and they're there to gain freedom from their eating disorders. So we treat anorexia, bulimia, and as they're living in community, they have meal support with a dietitian, and then 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, we do intensive outpatient therapy, which means support groups, meal support, and we do all these evidence-based theories that help them recover from their eating disorders.
So now, a lot of people would think of like transitional living with, dealing with maybe, abuse or maybe addiction. You guys specifically, which I know eating disorders, there are addictions, right?
Yes, definitely.
So, but you guys mainly just deal with eating disorders. Is that?
I'm so glad you asked that because it's so complicated. Because when there's the eating disorder, there's also usually a substance abuse issue. There's also usually a mood disorder, depression, anxiety, or OCD. So, and oftentimes there's a trauma history. And so then helping them overcome some sort of trauma event or events. So it's really dual diagnosis. So eating disorder, all this comorbidity of substance abuse, trauma, and mood disorders. So we treat it all. Now,
yeah, that's amazing. I mean, like how it's all interwoven.
Yes.
And I'm, we get to talk with a lot of nonprofits, and it does seem like so many things stem back to trauma.
Yes.
At some point in time.
Absolutely, we go to the root of the problem, and that's what we're really wanting to heal, is that undercurrent. So we may look at the context of family background, traumas, temperament, can contribute to that. Is there a history of alcoholism? Is there a history of perfectionism? More of the type A that goes with that anorexia, the OCD, the perfectionism,
That's interesting because a lot of people probably wouldn't think of that as some type of mental disorder, because you always hear people often brag about, I'm type A.
Yes.
I'm type A. And I'm just like,
right.
Now you'd be like, hold on a second.
Right.
Right. So, but that's amazing. And so you guys have been around since when?
2011.
Okay.
Yes.
And how many, you said you had 10 beds.
Yes.
Now, I guess, having 10 beds is, that's amazing. And it probably costs, you guys quite a bit of money to
yes,
have to.
Absolutely.
How many, and we'll get to that because I want to understand how you guys, like the tough things that you guys go through in operating, but putting a dent in the Kansas City, community. How many people, are out there? How many women are out there that need help? I mean, you guys have 10, beds, but how many do you have coming to you on a monthly or?
Absolutely. We have people coming all over the nation to our home. And so these women are coming from higher levels of care often. And so they're in hospitals. They may come from Denver, or Chicago or Dallas. And they come and transition in Kansas City, and they can live with us for 6 months, sometimes up to a year during that transition time. And not only are they in support groups and therapy and working with a dietitian, but they're also working, volunteering, going to the local universities. Some of them even transition and stay in Kansas City because they love Kansas City and stay. And then
it's a great city.
Go to UMKC,
great school.
Yes, exactly.
That's where I graduated.
Oh, that's awesome. And transition into even our city. And so our goal is to not only help them overcome the eating disorder and stabilize the underlying condition, but ultimately find their purpose, just getting out in life and following their goals and their dreams. So they come from all over. So it's a very prevalent problem.
I love that you said find their purpose. They find their purpose.
Yes.
That's because I think, I see a lot of people that kind of start going down that path or where things start getting the best of them, they kind of lose purpose, and I don't know. I mean, you guys have the research, so but that's amazing that you say that, like, you have to find your purpose. What kind of purposes do they, do you see people gravitate towards when they go through something like this? Is it, do they, do they find more joy and purpose in teaching and helping other people?
Okay, I think that so needs to transition to this gal right here.
Yeah. So I'm actually in recovery myself, and it's interesting how it all played out. So I've been in recovery for about 6 years now, and I had initially reached out to Thalia House for help, and I was living in Lincoln, Nebraska at the time, and they found me resources there, and then I ended up having my internship at Thalia House during grad school, and now I'm program director. So it's full circle.
Oh, wow.
And so I really found through my own experience, my own purpose and wanting to help others that have been through what I've been through. So that's really a motivator for me. So
now, how long did you deal with your eating disorder?
It's a complicated question. So I struggled with different things at different times.
Okay.
So I would say altogether, with body image and everything, I think it started as young as when I was 10. Wow. So, I mean, from 10 to about 20 years old. Yeah. So for a really long time.
Yeah, I can see that. I see that happen. I have 4 daughters, by the way. So, and my third she's 9 going on 10. And that's where you start to see a lot of, young girls just being influenced, and it's mind-boggling. Yeah. So so you went through that. You had you did that for 10 years. And then you stumbled into Thalia House. And what was it like when you first got there? I mean, was it something you're like you were just resistant? You're just like, or were you like, I need.
So I never received care from Thalia House. I mostly I received a referral from them. Okay. But I mean, when I came back for my internship, it just felt so natural. I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. Okay. I did research at Nebraska.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you went to school there and you were a part.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I had initially reached out to Thalia House since I'm from the Kansas City area. They were a local resource for me, but it didn't work out. So they found me some referrals in Lincoln, and full circle, I came right back as an intern and now as an employee. So
how do you see, I guess, what does it look like for you seeing some of the people come through then, some of the women?
Yeah. I think I'm drawn to them. I'm drawn to their story. I understand what they went through and what they're going through because I went through it as well. So I have this motivation to really help them. Yeah. Yeah.
And so you were doing research on this specific
This population, yes. Yeah, so I worked at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, and I worked in a family development lab, and so we looked at eating disorder symptoms in moms and dads during the prenatal to postnatal period, so during pregnancy and after pregnancy. So I got the research side of things, and then I found that I really like doing the clinical, so that's when I applied for grad school, and now I do the therapy and the outreach, so...
And so you guys stay pretty busy?
Yes.
How many people do you have, helping you out working?
Yes, we're a team of therapists, and so there's 4 therapists, and they provide things like the meal supports and leading the groups and all that. And then there's a full-time dietitian. She does the grocery shopping, the meal outings, the meal supports. And they do a lot of family meals together. So at dinners, they rotate who cooks. So then they really have to try different meals in addition to different restaurants. So I think the healing part of it, honestly, is the community. Yeah. Like them coming together, living together, learning coping skills, and just that, that vulnerability and the connection from just the support from one another.
Now, how did you actually get involved? Like what?
Yeah, mine, I'm just a little older. So I started working at Baptist Medical Center, which was the inpatient eating disorder hospital back in the 90s. And Kansas City has actually lost having an inpatient hospital in its city. And so at one time, we had the inpatient hospital here. We have different levels of care, like partial hospitalization. And that's why we're getting the referrals from some of the higher level of cares in the other cities. But so I worked in the hospital. But honestly, I think I wanted to work with women, seeing them empowered. That empowerment word means a lot to me. Just seeing women know that they're enough, know their worth, be able to claim their beauty externally, but really claim more, who they are on the inside, and just their gifts and their purpose and their empowerment and feeling enough. And so our recovery stories are when women get that spark in their eye because they find joy. And one of our clients, she went to the hospital multiple times. She stayed with us long term. She now is in grad school, stable, recovered, has a spark in her eye. We've seen people get married. We've seen people have babies. We've seen people go to grad school. And so I don't think I ever tire of the eating disorder has a way of controlling their lives. Yeah. They're just so obsessed. And so it takes up all their mental space, and their identity is wrapped up in that. And honestly, we're a society of numbing. Right. Our society, our entire society is numbing in lots of different ways, not just eating disorders.
Exactly.
Food's just one of them. And so part of our story is helping people not numb, feel and heal, and finding joy through that purpose and that empowerment, and finding that spark of where's their gift. And so when I see that, I'm jazzed, and it keeps me going.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
So how can people help you? This has got to be a lot. So and obviously you got bills to pay. You got things to buy.
Yes.
How can people help you?
Yeah, absolutely. We're really launching our Robin Foundation, and we actually need grant writers. So we're looking for some grant writers to write grants for the foundation. We're just beginning to build our board. So we are approved for our foundation. So we're so excited about that.
We'll insert trumpets right there.
Yeah, totally. And the reason we're doing that, in all honesty, we do a lot of reduced fees because the women are having to pay rent, and they're also having to pay for intensive outpatient therapy, which is 3 hours of outpatient therapy a day. And so treatment can be up to $6,000 to $8,000 a month. Wow. But a lot of women coming are reduced fees. And so, but we're paying our therapist and the dietitian and the mortgage and food and all that. Cool, yeah. And so we're doing a lot of reduced fees. So we're needing the foundation to supplement quality care where they can receive care. And so that's our next step, is just more fundraising to supplement scholarships for the residents' care.
Now, I want to know the website.
Yes, it's thaliahouse.com.
ThaliaHouse.com.
Yes.
Okay. And so with the fundraising, so people who are starting out and getting into this, just like you are, kind of what are the hardest steps? Like for with that fundraising effort.
Yes.
Okay. Is there something that you can help people with as far as like good piece of information?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? We were just at the NEDA walk, the National Eating Disorder Walk down at the Nelson Atkins. And so people did a walk as a way to raise money, and we raised money for that. I would just say go to our website. You can see what's on our website. There's a link for the Robin Foundation. Get involved. I mean, like volunteering, the NEDA walk. Like I said, we were looking for grant writers. We'll have some events that will be inspirational for fundraising. So we'll get those out on our website.
I was wondering if you guys are putting on some events. I see on your website, you guys got, it's a great website. Very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
And you got a lot of information. It's thaliahouse.com. And that is Thalia House.
Yes.
THALIA house.com.
Yes.
Right? And then, and you're going to be putting more information. You said you have an event. Do you guys have?
We just were a part of the NEDA event. But the next event we have, we'll get it posted up there. Yeah. But
so that is the community health fair at the Church of the Resurrection.
That is the next one.
Yeah,
okay.
so
that's Sunday.
So the 21st, and it's from 8:30 to 1:00.
Okay.
So a bunch of different.
And where? Where is it?
Church of the Resurrection. Yes. So it's the Leawood location. It's in Building B.
Okay.
So a bunch of people are coming together, and they have all these different activities. You can register or you can walk up, but they have stuff for kiddos too. So it's a good event for anyone that's wanting to learn more about health and wellness activities.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, Emma and Jennifer. Thank you very much. That's ThaliaHouse.com, ThaliaHouse.com. You can find out more information, and you can help them out. You can find out where their events are going to be, and maybe you want to write some grants.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining us. Coming up, empowering artists with an amazing event, fire and water and all that stuff. What's that about? KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice.
Inspired by Ewan Marion Kaufman, the Kaufman Foundation believes that every person, regardless of their background, can take risks, achieve success, and give back to their communities. We work together with our Kansas City community and beyond through investments in education and entrepreneurship that create uncommon solutions. By listening first to the communities we serve, we seek to understand the problems and dream big with people to build innovative programs that deliver results. Learn more at Kaufman.org.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it. You hear it every time you finish a meal and never feel anything. But if we were able to associate this sound with a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural response from you. Save the food. Why are we doing this, you may ask? Save the food. Because this ad is trying to change your after-meal behavior through brainwashing. Because food waste costs the average family $1,500 a year. Save the food. Cha-ching. And $1,500 extra bucks is like getting a pay raise. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted. Which could pay for your child's braces. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted.
Check out my braces.
So when you hear this sound, rethink your behavior. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
When it comes to using their wireless phones, drivers everywhere are making safety their most important call.
Are you kidding me? You know our curfew. Look, I'm driving now, but I'll be home in a little bit. We'll take care of this then.
Stressful or emotional conversations can take your mind off driving. Avoid them behind the wheel. Your wireless phone can be your best safety tool. Don't let it become a distraction. The wireless industry and this radio station remind you, with wireless, safety is your call.
Welcome back to Casey Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice, generously underwritten by the Ewan Marion Kaufman Foundation. I am Bobby Keys. And we are telling nonprofit stories, talking nonprofit talk with the best Kansas City nonprofits. We got so many of them. We got over 7,500 in Kansas City. And one by one, we're getting them on air and telling their story. Eating that elephant one bite at a time. So now it's something that's super passionate to me, the art world. I love it. It's all about, I would say, I think it's creating community.
Yes.
In which to ignite art. I love art, in which the arts ignite shared experiences and unexpected connections. I like that. Now we got the executive director and the program manager, Cheryl. Is it Kimmy?
Yes.
Hey, all right.
2 first names.
Yes, and we got Trenna Reed, and you're the program manager, Trenna.
Yes.
And Cheryl, you are the executive director.
We'll go with that.
Right.
Staff has other names for me, but
they don't say that to your face, right? It's
okay. Oh no, it's all with love.
No, that's awesome. Now, so tell us, and it's Casey Creates is the nonprofit that we're talking about, right?
Right.
And so tell us about Casey Creates. I there's a lot of people in the nonprofit world that's heard of it, but they might not know exactly what it does.
It's kind of an umbrella organization. So we started as Casey Fringe, and I've been on this show multiple times now talking about the Fringe Festival, and we just had our 15th Fringe in July. And so we started with Fringe, and then we kept growing and growing. And then 5 years ago, we decided we had several opportunities in front of us, and so we decided to change the name of the nonprofit to Casey Creates, so that would enable us to do more than just the Fringe, as if the Fringe wasn't enough to do by itself.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, we took over. Took over production of Waterfire KC. We'll talk more about that in a minute.
Yeah.
And also the Corporate Arts Challenge, which we rebranded. At that time, it was called Art at Work.
Oh, yeah.
And coordinated by the Arts Council. And they were shifting focus, and so they asked us to pick that up, and we rebranded it, calling it Inspire KC, Kansas City's Corporate Arts Challenge. Nice. And it's a wonderful opportunity for folks in corporate America to express their creativity.
Now, real quick, I want to touch on that, corporate creativity. Are they actually, is it kind of like a company project?
It's a company competition. So each company, be it small mom and pop to a large corporation, do an internal arts competition, and employees participate.
Awesome.
Visual performing, literary, and then employees vote on each other's work to decide who goes to the citywide competition. And we host the citywide competition at Union Station. It's just fun, and people learn more about each other.
Right?
Employers learn more about their employees.
Yeah.
People connect on a whole different level through the arts.
Absolutely. That music is the backbone of kind of like my life, so that's like the common thread. Our family, ukuleles and guitars and trumpets, but the thing, I've always been in music, but I've always admired how the arts just bring everybody together, and it's such a commonality, but it's also suppressed. It's so suppressed, but you have people that work in the corporate world, and they don't have these outlets, right? And then every once in a while you see somebody that you're like, who's that playing a guitar? They might be in a bar. And it's like somebody you work with who's just trying to get like this outlet, that people, they need these creative outlets, and this sounds just wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great way. One of my favorite stories is, and I won't name the company, but a very large company here in town has a band, and their bass player is the CEO.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
That is awesome. That's the kind of CEO I want to be.
Yes, we will talk. But then today's focus, our next event is Waterfire.
Yes. Everybody knows about Waterfire. Of
well,
course.
We hope so.
Right? You guys you've done a great job of marketing it. So tell everybody about Waterfire.
It's all about bringing community together. And I'll let Trina talk here in a minute about what our entertainment will be this year and what the focus is. But we have a big change. For those who know about Waterfire, it has always been on the Country Club Plaza. We are shifting this year to Tice Park. And people go, what? Who? Tice Park is the park across the street from the Nelson Art Gallery.
Yes.
There's a huge amphitheater down there by Brush Creek, and people will be able to spread out more and enjoy.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I'll let Trina take it from there and tell you more about what we're doing this year with Waterfire.
Yes, Miss Program Manager.
Yes. So as far as entertainment goes, we'll have a pre-show that will include Stone Lion Puppets and Broderick Jones, who is a singer. So they'll have a little set each. And then for the main performance, which happens right after the lighting ceremony at 7, we've got Trio Forte. So it's 3 opera singers. And they're local. I think all of our artists are local. Yes. Yeah. And then after that, we'll have the Zanzibar Drum Tribe,
that's awesome.
Which is a branch of the Kansas City Drum Tribe. And then we'll have Rhythmic Flames. So they'll be kind of in conjunction with the drum tribe. So that'll be really cool.
That's what I was about to ask.
I can see the question in your eyes. Yeah.
Hula hoop in the fire. Yes. That was such an awesome visual display. That's going to be so cool.
Yep. And then we'll have some more from Stone Lion Puppets. So they've got some really cool stuff planned for us.
They have lighting puppets after
very
dark.
Interesting.
So okay. So I'm gonna be ignorant here. The Stone Line Puppets.
Oh, you need to have them on. They do amazing stuff.
Really?
Yes.
Right now, I've been following the director on Facebook, and they're doing lots of school tours right now.
Awesome.
So they're going to public schools and doing performances, and they're very involved in getting awareness out about the environment. So
that's awesome.
That's a really cool aspect of their company.
And so one
more.
We do have one more.
So wow. Okay, keep going.
Quixotic will be performing as well. So yeah, they'll be there with us too,
doing their magic.
Yeah, that's always that's such an amazing group, and it's so cool to have. I mean, they're world renowned.
Yes.
And they're here.
They started the same year that Fringe started. So they're 15 years this year.
That is awesome. Yeah. So now who puts that together? Who puts all this together?
We do. Me and Cheryl. Yeah. And we have a few other team members that are helping as well,
and lots of volunteers.
Yes. It's our organization is heavily reliant on volunteers, so we would not be able to do what we do without their help, and we're forever grateful for them. But as far as, putting together the entertainment and figuring out infrastructure and everything like that.
And licensing and permits.
Oh, wow.
Yes, my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite
and her
thing
job.
In the world.
Oh, okay. So if you need somebody who can hammer through the licensing, which is always a headache, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm learning.
Yeah. And so how long have you been in the nonprofit world?
I started working for Fringe initially last year, so July of 2018, and I've kind of just hopped on board for whatever they need help with. My first big project after Fringe was Waterfire last year, which of course got canceled. So that
because
took a little piece of my
Yes.
soul away. So we're going to try again this year and hope that it happens.
We've invested in lots of umbrellas. That's
Yes,
right.
exactly.
Well, with that, it's important to point out we can control Mother Nature.
Yeah.
And if there's a lot of rain, we will not put our volunteers and our artists at risk because Brush Creek will flood, will flash flood. And so if the weather is not kind, pay attention because we will not put people at risk. We will cancel if we need to.
Yeah. And so that and Kansas City is just notorious. If you're listening and you're not from Kansas City, crazy weather, but the flooding down in Brush Creek,
Happens. It happens.
lots, So how long do you guys have to prepare for this? How long out? When did you guys kind of start the process of getting ready for Waterfire, like with an event like this?
Well, this year was just a little bit different. So I would say usually we would start planning in April. Usually it's around April. This year, it was since we had to go through the change in location, it took a little bit longer to get everything in motion. So we started beginning of August, really.
In heavy preparation, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we plan ahead a year, and once we took this over, we determined that it would be a set date. It would be the first Saturday in October every year.
Okay.
So all of our partners know, and we have a lot of partners. We partner with Kansas City Parks and Recs. Could not do this without them. They're absolutely amazing. And I'm drawing a blank here. And our volunteers, and I want to put a plug in here, we always need more volunteers. So if there's anyone out there that would love to volunteer, everything from helping feed the fires, be on the boats feeding the fires, to being on, and if you don't want to be in the water, no problem. There are plenty of things on land, and helping answer questions and guiding people and directing where the foods are. We'll have food trucks. We'll have some artists doing live painting on site.
That's awesome. And Kansas City has really stepped up the food truck game, like in a major way, which is just like, I'm like, wow, okay. I go to LA and I come back here. I'm like, we got some pretty darn good food here, you know.
I had no issues finding food trucks. No issues there.
So you need help. How can people help you? Where do they go? Do they go to the website? They just call you up on your phone?
So waterfirekc.org is our website. And there is a volunteer page that you click on there. And that'll take you to our volunteer portal where you have to fill out an application technically, but then they'll approve it and you can sign up for shifts. And it's pretty simple. It's user friendly.
It is.
Can you volunteer for like fire spinning? Like I'll try it out. I've never done it, but I'd love to volunteer.
Well, we'll put you in touch with our fire spinners, and we'll let them.
Right. Then maybe they
have
can
to be
delve into
licensed.
that.
They have to be licensed and insured themselves.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine what the licensing fee is on a fire spinning.
There's another opportunity to participate. We found that people want to get on they don't necessarily want to feed the fires, but they want to be on the boats, and that's my favorite place. It is magical being on Brush Creek floating quietly in a boat with the fires burning. It's just the ambiance is just magical. So we started the Brazier Society, and that's a way for people to support us because this is a free event, and they have an opportunity to take a boat ride during the event.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine, do you have somebody taking pictures out there? Because that could be amazing photo op.
Yes.
Trina, make sure you have that.
Yes. Working on that.
That's my videographer, photography mind kicking in. Like, great visual. But so the Brazier Society, that is now, is that
It's a membership. It's a membership organization to help support Waterfire.
Okay. And can they find that information
on the website?
Yep, there's a page for Brazier Society.
And they can donate. What if they want to donate? What they just like? I don't want like fire.
There's a link there.
Water.
They can just donate.
They can just
and we welcome all donations. This takes a lot of resources to pull this off, and we pay all of our artists because their time and their talents are valuable.
Oh, wow.
And that's critical for us. And for us, it's also about bringing the community together. This is an open access event for the entire community.
And so you do pay your artists, which is huge.
Oh, yes.
Like a lot of artists are like, most people are like, hey, can you come do my event? Yeah, I don't have any money. So, so how do you pay them? Is that through money raised, through donations?
Money raised.
Okay. And now does Waterfire, does it have does ticket sales? Did I miss that?
No, it's all free.
It's free.
It's all free.
It's totally free. So it is planned and executed with all donated funds.
Wow. And that's October 5th.
Correct.
And that's 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
But come early.
Yes.
Pre-show pre-lighting starts at 5:30. So we'll have some entertainment, folks wandering around.
Okay.
So and food trucks will be there as early as 5.
Okay, and this is all ages. And everybody can come. There's no,
no age
PG-13.
No.
Nope.
So what what other events do you have that help support KC Creates? I mean, like, is this just your main baby?
Fringe and Waterfire are our two main babies.
Yeah, I mean, Fringe is huge.
Yeah. And with Fringe, we also do Fringe Presents. So we're going to be remounting a couple of shows from Fringe this last year that we felt were particularly compelling. And we're going to do a weekend in March, mid-March, that will be dealing with shows that have social justice topics.
Oh, okay.
And raising awareness. And with those, we like to make people think.
We need more people thinking.
Yeah, we do.
Especially me. And can people be a part of that as well?
Yes, just get on our email list. You can go to Waterfire or Fringe or even kccreates.org and sign up on our email list, and we'll keep you informed of all the things that are going on. And then we also cross promote all the artists who participate with us in all of our programs. When they have things happening and they share with us, we shoot that out also. Or go to our Facebook page.
Yeah, and if artists want to jump in on this, then, because if I were an artist, I'd want to be in on this.
Yes.
And it doesn't cost anything for the artist. They get paid, just so you know, right?
Yes.
So so you can go to the website. We got a couple different websites. You can go to kccreates.org, right? You can go to waterfirekc.org. Those are the two main ones. And then you can kind of spider web through and find the Fringe, and then as well as
and inspire the Corporate Arts Challenge.
Yes,
yes,
I want. You need to get us involved with that. Okay. We'd love to be a part of that somehow. So we'll talk offline.
It's all about engaging the community and providing opportunities for outlet and connections.
And to me, that's just a beautiful thing. Well, thanks for telling your story, and thanks for joining us and taking your time out of the day. Coming up, it's all about the kids, empowering underserved youth in Kansas City and helping them become the leaders of tomorrow. How do we do that? Well, they want to do it through sports. KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice.
I'm Howie Mandel. Did you know attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in adults is a real and treatable medical disorder? I know because I am one of the estimated 10 million adults in the U.S. who have ADHD. The symptoms of ADHD, inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity make it difficult to pay attention and focus, be organized, complete tasks, and maintain relationships. I've been diagnosed with ADHD. In my life, I've often misplaced things and have found it difficult to sit down and read a script for work or even have a conversation. You know, the kind when you're actually listening without interrupting. It's never too late for adults to seek help for ADHD and find the right treatment plan. Get information at adultadhdisreal.com and take an ADHD self-screener. Talk to your doctor. The right treatment plan can help control your symptoms so you can stay focused and organized, get things done at home and work, and help improve relationships. Visit adultadhdisreal.com to learn more about adult ADHD. Don't let ADHD prevent you from achieving your goals. I haven't.
Inspired by Ewan Marion Kaufman, the Kaufman Foundation believes that every person, regardless of their background, can take risks, achieve success, and give back to their communities. We work together with our Kansas City community and beyond through investments in education and entrepreneurship that create uncommon solutions. By listening first to the communities we serve, we seek to understand the problems and dream big with people to build innovative programs that deliver results. Learn more at Kaufman.org.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cool time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Hey America, we're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet.
Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care of people for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
Enroll! So listen to me, a talking pug, you see. If you get health insurance, preventive care is now free.
So sweet.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options. That's getcoveredamerica.org. Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Carl Edwards here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You want to make a difference? It's simple. Be responsible. Plan ahead. Designate before you celebrate. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice, telling the stories of Kansas City's local nonprofits. I'm Bobby Keys. Ruth is, she's off in Alaska, saving some bears, the polar bears and seals. So, and we're here talking nonprofits. We've had some awesome guests. It's all about empowering. I see the theme she's got going on right now. We're talking about empowering youth through sports and creating the leaders of tomorrow, right?
There we go.
There we go. We've got Angel McGee, Director of Communications and Outreach for the Kansas City Urban Youth League or Academy.
Academy, yes.
Yeah. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You've been here plenty, right?
Yes.
And you're like an old soul around here.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So tell people who haven't heard or maybe they're new to Kansas City. Mm-hmm. Tell them about the Urban Youth Academy and what it does.
Of course. So the Kansas City MLB Urban Youth Academy, of course, we are under the umbrella of the Kansas City Royals, but it's part of a bigger umbrella. We are one of 8 academies across the country. Pretty much the whole reason we exist is going into underserved or low-income communities and providing resources and opportunities to kids to be able to play baseball and softball. That is the pure reason behind the academies across the country. And here in Kansas City, we have an amazing facility. We're located in the backyard of the 18th and Vine District, specifically behind the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. So really, we're in that rich historical context of the city itself. This is where the Negro Leagues started. And so we're looking at 100 years later as to how all of this has now culminated back into the roots of where baseball generally began here in Kansas City. And so that is our biggest mission, is really just providing those resources, empowering those kids to be leaders of tomorrow through baseball and softball.
Now, I guess, how did this come about? What was kind of the brainchild or the spark? It was like, you know what? It's baseball. Why wasn't that volleyball?
Right, for sure. This is actually from a conversation that stemmed between Daryl Miller, who is the vice president of the youth academies with Major League Baseball, and our current general manager of the Kansas City Royals, Dayton Moore. Okay. This is really his vision, his project, and his dream to see Kansas City as the epicenter of Midwest baseball and softball. So really it started back in 2013 13th, 2014, in a conversation they had, and Daryl Miller simply asking Dayton if he would be interested in bringing an academy to Kansas City. And from that point on, I mean, it just ran from that point. He came back, we talked to the city, talked to Mayor James at the time, former Mayor James. He was on board for it, and the ball just started rolling. The campaigning, the fundraising, everything just started to grow, get bigger. And then in 2018 of last year, March 2018, is when we officially opened up our doors for the Urban Youth Academy.
Wow. And so now there are 8 of them.
There are 8, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And it all started here, right?
It started in Compton, California.
Okay.
The first original academy is in Compton, California, and that was pertaining to the high crime rates around the area that it was on. I mean, they had an extensive gang war as well. That is, everyone knows historically the turf between the Bloods and the Crips. Yeah. That is where it all began. And so from that point on, they saw the success of what the Compton Academy had going on, and it kind of just did its own trickle effect throughout the country. We're the first academy next to Cincinnati that's here in the Midwest. So we're finally the academy that's in the middle of the map that can reach pretty much everyone in that surrounding Midwestern region.
And that's an awesome benefit that that you have here.
Yes.
And so you reach out to the kids and the underserved kids. Mm-hmm. How do you reach them?
Absolutely. So there's just a plethora of ways. Coming in, of course, using the resources that the Royals have already had through the Community Relations Department, through baseball operations. But as we are gaining ground with the Academy ourselves, that is posing in my position mainly going out into the communities, going into the schools, making those connections, making those introductions from all over the board. I mean, I can't tell you how many luncheons, how many presentations, how many coffee meetings, how many in school, just introductions, coming and talking to kids, just being a part of community health fairs. I mean, I have done it and been to everything, it feels like, at this point, and it just continues to grow, which is awesome. We still have a lot of legwork to do for that, for folks to understand who we are and the purpose behind it. Yeah. But that's generally what we've been doing. And then working, of course, with local RBI programs on both the Kansas and the Missouri side, the local high schools in the interscholastic league, mainly serving as a facility for high school baseball and now high school softball to play there. So just a plethora of different ways of how we've been able, all of our staff at the same time, from baseball, softball, myself, going out into different outlets and pretty much spreading the word.
So it seems like, which Kansas City is obviously, is a baseball town, football town too, but, it seems like baseball is just with, our awesome Royals in the series. Yeah, it's definitely taken off. Have you seen baseball kind of just it just spark even more after the World Series?
Oh, absolutely. I think that was the biggest factor that helped spring the whole project into action. We were, when everything was happening, those conversations, it was 2014 when we first started, our playoff run. And then 2015 came around, and that's when the conversations, the fundraising, I mean, the money was just coming in. We were coming off of winning that night. I think Dayton caught a plane from the night that we won to come back here to host a fundraising event. So that told you where his mind was. He literally just won a World Series, but he wanted to make sure to get back here and handle business on the academy side of things as well. So I definitely think as we were coming in, it helped with a lot of the excitement that the city was already feeling behind our World Series win, but then also to hear that this amazing project that's one of a kind, there's only 8 of us in the country, is coming here to Kansas City, and it's going to benefit kids that normally don't have opportunities elsewhere. And so I think when you're looking at those components, it really goes back into the philanthropy and really our community and how we can, engage together, but also doing it through sport.
So how do you gauge impact with something like this?
That's a great question. That's the question we've always been asked. I think for us, numbers are good. Yeah. But the intangible is what we've been able to measure. Yeah. So we're we're having kids that are coming from all backgrounds in life. And it's not just our younger kids. I mean, we service ages 6 to 18. On our part-time staff right now, we have a handful of boys that literally would not be able to have these opportunities at the academy if it if we weren't there. You know, they could be doing anything elsewhere. They have their own stories.
Yeah.
You hear some of their stories, you'd sit back and just be amazed that they're still here, one. Two, that they're now getting higher education. That wasn't the case before the academy came. And we can say that hopefully for at least 5 of our boys that are there now. They're getting higher education outside of, you know, after graduating high school, and the opportunity to play baseball. On top of that,
oh, wow.
I mean, those are that is the impact stories. Those are the impact stories that we have. And even down to our kids who, you know, they're just there because the family situation at home is a little, you know, unstable, or it's just giving them something to do, or their sibling is involved in a program, so they got to come along, but it's giving them a safe place to play, to be around kids like themselves, kids that may not look like them.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason in bringing so many of our kids together, is just
the diversity,
looking at the world outside of the things that they might not have known otherwise. So that's the impact that we've taken from. I mean, there's just so many stories that, you know, come in from a daily basis that, oh my gosh, if it weren't for you guys, or Coach Clee, Coach Ashley, Coach Darwin, you guys are amazing in the work that you're doing. We see the change in school. We see the change in behavior. We see the change in self-esteem. Those are the type of impact measures.
I mean, I was going to say that's your impact right there, especially, you know, because that's kind of, you know, that's the piece that some people might miss is, you know, how sports, you know, how it helps in school, how it actually helps mentally, you know, and so many positive things that come along with that and participating in sports. And then, you know, realizing that not everybody has access to that.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's the biggest thing.
And so how many kids are at the academy?
Yeah. So it all depends on our programming. So last year alone, we serviced over 3,000 kids.
Wow.
Looking at our numbers from the different clinics, events, programs, everything that we had signed up.
That's a lot of Lunchables.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Exactly. That's a lot. It's a lot of juice boxes, too. Juice boxes and granola bars.
There you go.
But so to date, I mean, we're looking at averaging from that year, I mean, from last year to even now, it's just the numbers are continuing to grow at this point. And so in any given week, I mean, we're looking at close to 200 kids per week just through the amount of different programming that we're having, from our after school program to our Royals Youth Elite training sessions to, I mean, our Team KC teams playing there. There's just an abundance of kids that are just there every day.
So how does it, you know, I guess, how does that work for a kid if they want to be part of it? What's the onboarding process?
Yeah, so the onboarding process, so what we've done, we have a portal that we go through on our website, and it's called League Apps. And simply what is there is just once you go in, it's kind of like any parent signing up their kid to play rec sports.
Okay.
We do the same thing. Going in, creating an account, you know, signing up from that point, and then once you signed up, you're in our system to receive everything.
Okay.
Literally, my best piece of suggestion, best piece of advice that I give all the parents is, once you go up and you're signing in, sign up ASAP if you find out about something.
Yeah.
Because our programs fill up, as you can imagine.
Yeah,
you know, all of our programming that we offer is free. So those week-to-week programs outside of the teams and leagues and other than that, but our programming is all free, and that's the biggest thing. That's why a lot of kids aren't playing the sport, because one, they can't afford it.
Yeah.
Two, they haven't been around it,
right.
so you're not going to play anything you haven't been around, so to speak. So that's why we're here, making it affordable, one, and two, reasonable in the hours that we service at the academy. But then, of course, through all of our social media, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. So we try to publicize everything that we have going on, and then from those links there, it gives you all the information. You also know where we're located, so 1622 East 17th Terrace.
You got it down.
You got it right behind, like I said it before in the beginning of the segment, right behind the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. We have a lot of foot traffic that come through. Folks that are just in the neighborhood or visiting the museums and the museum. Our partnership with Bob Kendrick, and
I was going to ask about that. Yeah,
they are awesome. I mean, we've got, you know, there's a lot of folks that come specifically to visit the museum, and then they pub us, and they're like, oh, well, you know, we were just at the museum. They told us to come check it out, and easy, you know, just kind of word of mouth in that regard.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then we've got our field trip program, which is free as well.
Yeah, let's touch on that. What's the field trip program?
Our bases loaded field trip program, of course, all pun intended with the name. Yes, it hits your three. It just hits your three key points, which is health and wellness, the athletic side of things, and education. So it's pretty much modeling off of our after-school program, which teaches baseball and softball on the field. So taking part on field, but bringing it back to the classroom. So understanding some of those math, those STEM components, how it relates to the game. So what's the hit velocity from home plate to, what is the speed around the bases, different things like that, bringing it back in, understanding batting average, how we calculate that. It's offered for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders from everywhere. So if you can get to the academy, you come. And it's offered, we've got it's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I believe. Certain information there, but it's all on our website as well, which is mlb.com/KCUYA. But the whole part in that is really being able to reach other students that may not be able to come directly to the academy. So that was something that we came up with as an opportunity to go into the schools and allow, them to have the field trip fundamental behind it to come to the academy for a day. And then we partnered with the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum for another part of that package, which is basically called the Vine Experience. And so it's making it a full day down at the Vine.
Awesome.
You come over to us and then you go to the museum, or vice versa. And so you're learning, you're connecting what we're doing with the history of the game itself, so that these kids are understanding it's not by just chance that we're down here in the old Parade Park, where a lot of Kansas City community and the residents, that was their park, growing up.
Oh, that's an interesting piece of history. I mean, there's so much history down in that area, period. Yes. And that's cool that you guys, it's just amazing that you have the opportunity. And that they were like, hey, let's put this academy down here. So and people can they volunteer? Can they donate? How can people help out?
Absolutely. Volunteers, donating, all that great stuff. Our website, mlb.com/KCUYA. There's different tabs. There's a donate tab. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. We have wonderful support from the Royals organization, but however, we still function as a nonprofit. So private gifts, public gifts, donations from whatever generous amount are always welcome. They go towards everything that we do with the programming. We have the wonderful amenity, of course, that we're all taking care of as a staff. So everything that is given to the academy goes to the academy. So to equipment needs, to programming needs, to juice boxes and granola bars, to everything. Your gift is directly impacting the youth that come through all of our programs. And so volunteers, same thing, same information can be found on the website for different events, or if we have league tournaments, or if you're wanting to volunteer on the baseball or softball side, all that information can be found there.
That's all. And you might get to meet maybe like a couple famous players, maybe?
Yeah, from time to time, when the off season, it's kind of funny you mentioned that. When the off season comes around, sometimes some those guys like Rusty and a couple of the other former guys, they're around. They come down and they just want to help out, and it's nothing for me to walk in out of the office and look down on the field and say, "Oh, hey, what's you just here?"
Just hanging out,
Yeah, we want to come down. I'm like, oh, it's the 6 to 9-year-olds tonight, but this should be fun.
And so, what's the website one more time?
Yes, absolutely. www.mlb.com/KCUYA, our acronym, Kansas City Urban Youth Academy.
Well, thank you. Angel McGee, Director of Communications and Outreach for the Kansas City Urban Youth Academy. And thank you for listening to Casey Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice, produced by Charitable Communications. Casey Cares is generously underwritten by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation, and podcasts are available at kccaresonline.org. To be a guest on Casey Cares or for underwriting opportunities, please visit kccaresonline.org. Spread the love and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Casey Cares Online. And thank you for listening to Casey Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice.
ESPN Kansas City is KCTE Independence and K233 DM Raytown, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM.